The new Zelda's coming out. Oh, I can emulate that. Yes! The new, the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance things come out. Oh, I can emulate that on my PC.
You're goddamn right.
Is that like we're seeing people trying to downplay Nintendo Switch's best year ever by claiming they're just going to pirate everything and play it on Switch, which doesn't play it on emulators.
Welcome to the Caribbean, lad.
You know it's getting bad when I can't find the ponies doing anything stupid on Twitter or on YouTube. After Vatanga Plays destroyed Saltiest Gaming, after Saltiest Gaming tried to cancel him. It was a funny show, but the ponies don't have much to say at the moment. So after the Nintendo Direct, what's happened? It's all gone to the Nintendo fanboys. My last video was on Nintendo fanboys, and this time, I've got another one for you. Hammond Smith, the video I'm about to show you, isn't the main course here. Now if you've been following salty fanboys for as long as I have, you'll know that the Nintendo fanboys are the biggest bootlickers of the whole gaming industry. They will empty their wallets to Nintendo, regardless what the hell they want to charge. And the fact that Nintendo aren't even giving them new hardware, they're on ancient cell phone chips, which my current cell phone probably outperforms by a long shot. So there's no wonder why most PC gamers want to emulate Nintendo games, because they'll get better performance, a stable 60 FPS, and get the game for free. Here are the Nintendo's going on this massive anti-piracy campaign, as if they've never pirated something themselves in their lives, as in movies, music, or video games. That's the part of it that makes me laugh. It's only for their favourite console they don't want you pirating games, because they think it hurts the console. And at the moment the console is just hurting itself by being so out of date and having such a piss poor performance on every game that releases on it. And the fact that Nintendo now want to charge you $70 for games is even more laughable and even more of a reason to pirate them. Me personally, I'm not going to buy any of these games. I'm actually probably going to sell my Switch. I mean, the thing's just collecting dust all the time. So let's go and see what Hammond Smith has to say for us today.
Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole Lore and Frame the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. Following this Nintendo Direct, we heard a lot of bleeding from a certain demographic of gamers on the internet. The new Zelda's coming out. Oh, I can emulate that. The new, the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance things come out. Oh, I can emulate that on my PC. The new, Deca Police, Danganronpa Raincoat. It's not a Danganronpa game, but that's basically what everyone's calling it, like the Danganronpa lookalike. Everything new that's coming out on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, I can emulate that.
Oh, he's mad. He's big mad. I can't believe anybody would get so upset over somebody wanting to emulate a game. You get better performance on better hardware. I have no idea why this makes him so upset. The Nintendo Switch is everything to this man.
Essentially, what's happening, for those of you who aren't aware, who haven't been keeping up, is that in a desperate attempt to downplay the success and popularity of the Switch, there is a dedicated group of people out there who are acting as if being able to emulate games somehow invalidates the console and its life. That's essentially what we're seeing, is that we're seeing people trying to downplay Nintendo Switch's best year ever by claiming they're just going to pirate everything and play it on Switch, which doesn't play it on emulators, which doesn't actually work, by the way, because you have all these glitches, you lose save files, you have to worry about your frame rates being how you feel. You have to go through all this work to illegally get those ROMs. You have to do all this stuff. It's better to just download and play the game, honestly.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething.
This is pure coping, thinking we have to jump through hoops to get these games and then to get them running properly on our systems. It really isn't a problem. It's one of the easiest things you can ever do. He's only saying this to himself to make himself feel better and justify the Nintendo Switch as a whole.
Yeah, I think Metroid Prime Remastered was a really good example of this, in which they shadow dropped that game that day. And there were a bunch of people claiming they went ahead and got it downloaded onto their Steam Decks. But the thing is, everyone was downloading the game. So in order to download it onto a Steam Deck, you would have had to illegally download the game, you would have had to, well, first of all, you would have to like rip the game from like Nintendo Switch's servers. Then you would have to like, dump it onto your PC, and then you would have to play it. It would have just been simpler and easier to just buy the game and play it on the Switch.
And if you don't have a Nintendo Switch, that's an extra £300 you're gonna have to spend on a Switch. And not everybody wants to go and do that. Everybody just wants to go and get the game on the system they've already got. And if it's possible to do so, well, why wouldn't you? It saves you £300 or $300-ish. The logic here does not make sense.
And that's kind of like the situation we're in right now. Is like, why exactly would I go through like the trouble of dumping a Nintendo Switch game onto my PC when I could just pop it into my console and play it normally? You know, like there really is no reason to do that.
Frame rates, resolutions, the ability to use any controller I fancy, saving money. It's a pretty big list.
Honestly, like it really does feel as if the people insisting they do this all the time, the main reason they're doing it is trying to invalidate the Switch hardware and trying to say it's irrelevant and obsolete and that they don't really need it. They kind of leave out the inconvenient truths of just what emulating games is actually like. And
even Nintendo fans are invalidating the Switch at the moment. Nobody wants to pay $70 for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for that. They want better hardware to run that shit because they want better frame rates and resolutions. And please tell us what these inconvenient truths really are.
And what you have to do to get them, and why doing what they do is illegal, right? Like even right now, in the comment section of this video, you're gonna have a bunch of people like telling you that like emulation is legal, which isn't actually true. As anyone who's looked into the subject matter knows, it's basically just an issue of just like how exactly is Nintendo going to prosecute all of these people who are stealing all their games, right?
Emulation is perfectly legal if it's done by purchasing the game and dumping your own carts. There's nothing illegal about it. Running the game on your own hardware is not illegal in any way.
Right? Like, it's just not like realistic in that sense. So like there is like a small demographic of people who are doing it. But like to suggest it's mainstream and that like, the vast majority of people are playing like Nintendo games on their PCs, it just isn't true. Especially as like, older games become like more readily available on Nintendo Switch. I think this the Game Boy Advance being released on Switch is a really good example of like what's actually happening here, because now that the Game Boy Advance is like available on Switch, like you can kind of see that like, oh yeah, people are actually getting excited about this. People are getting excited about like playing Mario and Luigi again. People are getting excited about these old like Wario Lands and Super Mario Land 2 being re-released. A lot of people are excited about that.
See, what's more exciting is not having to wait for them games, having to pay a subscription to play them games, actually owning the games that you want to play. If you download them onto your system, then it's yours to keep forever. As long as you have a copy of that game, it is yours to keep. But being tied to a service means you will only have that game as long as the service provides it. So it's just essentially a rental service you're shilling for. Do I need to say any more?
And these are like the old games. These are the games that are supposedly like the easiest to obtain through emulation, right? These are like the games that supposedly anyone can do. Anyone can play, but like nobody's really doing that, honestly, because
most PC gamers do. The ones that want to go down the nostalgia path anyway.
It's too much trouble for what it is, right? Nobody wants to do that. People would rather just play these games on the Nintendo hardware. And I think now is kind of a tipping point in the emulation debate, in that people are beginning to realize that the emulators, the people who claim that they're pirating everything day one on their Nintendo Switch, or a few weeks early in a couple of cases, are completely full of shit, because like the situation they're describing, that like they're playing Metroid Prime Remastered at like 8K like day one, like it's just not realistic, like it just doesn't make any sense if you actually look into what these people are saying. Like I don't think that like most players, or really anyone, is playing the big Nintendo releases the day they come out on PC. There's just no reason to even try, honestly. Like, you're better off just like, playing them, buying a legit copy on the Switch and playing that. There's no reason for it.
I have never seen anyone shill for Nintendo this much in my life. Essentially, he's worse than a PlayStation fanboy. He would rather you go out there and pay $300 or a Nintendo Switch just to play one game? No thanks. And like I said, my Switch is covered in dust. I don't use it because the frame rates make me feel ill.
And I'm just going to like come out and say it that like, you know, I formally just condemn emulation. I condemn pirates. I condemn PC gamers, the pirate community. That's what PC stands for, the pirate community. Like, they really need to just stop, okay? Like, no one's buying into your nonsense. No one's going to stop buying Switches because you're supposedly emulating everything. Nobody cares, okay? What everyone wants is to play the hot new games on Nintendo consoles, and the sales numbers for Nintendo's hardware and all of their games very strongly reflect that.
Oof, now that's the end of that one. The coping from this man is unreal. The PC community being called the pirate community. I like it. In the past he's called us steampunks. That was when he was coping with the Steam Deck. But this has been quite fun. Opens my eyes to how much someone can actually shill for a company and lick the boots of Nintendo. Well, for the outro of this video, I'm gonna leave the comments to his video up because they are hilarious. Feel free to read them as you please. I'm going to do it as an outro. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe if you so choose to. And I will see you guys in the next one. Roll the comments.